Okay, hi, good morning everyone. It's Sean again. Today we're going to be taking a look at the battery start sequence for the Cessna 208 that we have in Flight Simulator. I'm using the checklist, the battery start checklist found in the Cessna Model 208B G1000 variant of the Pilot Operating Handbook, and we're picking up where we left off from the original checklist. So there's 17 steps in this, but it's going to go fairly quickly. So let's get right into it, shall we? Okay, number one, battery switch. It is on, and you can see that right here the battery switch is on. Let's go ahead and turn the beacon on, and you're going to be looking right here. I of course have the honeycomb yoke, so I'm going to switch on the beacon right there. That's step two. Step three. Now, again, this is the one where avionics doesn't work. We're going to go ahead and switch on avionics 1, and that switch you see is right here. So we turned avionics 1 on, and normally what we would see here during engine start is we'd be able to press this reversionary mode switch, and we would see engine information coming up on this screen here, or PFD. But because that's not working in Flight Simulator, I'm going to go ahead and turn on avionics 2. We wouldn't normally turn on avionics 2 at this point until you had the engine started. But because we need access to this engine indication system, this EIS over here, I'm going to go ahead and switch on avionics 2, but that's normally not done at this step. So that's number 3, avionics is on. So let's go ahead and just take a look at our engine indication system, and we're just verifying that we don't have any sort of red X's, anything that would lead us to think that there's a major problem here with just the electronics, because obviously we haven't started the engine yet. We're also taking this as step 5. We're going to take a look at our bus volts and make sure that it's 24 or above, and you see down here our bus volts are at 25. Now, I will tell you right now, the battery amps is not working in the sim, so that's going to be another area where we're just going to have to wait until it is fixed by Asopo or Microsoft. So we've gone through 5 steps already. There are only 17. Step 6. Emergency power lever. We've already checked this once, but let's go ahead and recheck and verify it's still in normal. And of course we know that that does not function in game, so that's not implemented. Step 7, make sure the propeller area is clear, and I can see that it is clear. Normally we would call out, and this person would go ahead and leave the area. Step 8, fuel boost. So let's go ahead and turn the fuel boost to the on position, and it's a switch with 3 positions. So it's off, norm, and on. So I've turned it into the on position, and we're just going to verify that our fuel flow here is still at 0, and you can see fuel flow is still at 0 for that. And we're going to go ahead then and turn on the starter switch, and this of course is the starter, and let's go ahead and put that in the on position, and we'll see the prop start to spin. And then what we're going to look for here is we'll see the oil PSI start to increase, and we see that, and we see our prop RPM here is actually taking a number, and honestly we are looking for our NG, which is the generator RPM. In the manual it says a 12% minimum, but I find that in game 10% minimum is kind of what we're looking for here. So looks like everything is good there. And what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to move our fuel condition lever up to a low idle position. So about 170, is where I'm gonna leave it at. Of course, the sim doesn't reflect real life fully. So that's about where I started. Actually, I go a little bit higher, but it's not real life at this point. The one thing it does ask that you see just make sure your ITT is within range and the temperature is good there, and your torque foot pounds are okay, and you can see that they're fine, and they are the steam gauge and the electronic gauge are in fact matching. Again, the amps, that's something that's not functioning. So with that, we should be seeing a 52% minimum here on the generator RPM, and we do. I see that at 60. And then we'll go ahead and, at this point, number 11, turn off the starter switch. Okay. So next is number 12, and we're just taking a look at the engine indication system, the EIS, and you can see that everything is within the green. It looks good. I don't see any issues. This MFD still has a lot to be implemented. Number 12, generator, we're checking the load. Number 13. Now again, this is broken in the sim, so not going to reflect what we needed to reflect here. Turn off fuel boost switch to the norm position. So remember, we have that 3-position toggle, so we'll go ahead and put it in norm, and that's number 14. And then at this point, we would normally turn on avionics number 2 as item 15, but because avionics number 2 was turned on, because remember that reversionary mode does not work on this PFD, so we turned that on earlier. But at this point, we would normally go ahead and turn on avionics 2. Number 16, turning on our nav lights, and you'll see the switch turn on here. I'm going to go ahead and turn on our nav light switch, and you'll see that it turned that switch on. And number 17, go ahead and change your cabin heating, cooling, ventilation system as desired for comfort. And so that's it for the battery start for the Cessna 208 that we have here in game. Those are all the kind of little quirks that I've found, and with that, you're ready to go on to the next checklist. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.